Hey guys, how you doing today? So today we're going to have ribs. Now it takes a little bit of a process. So we're going to start with these. It's a rack of St. Louis style ribs. I cut it in half only because I couldn't get it to fit on my stupid thing. We're going to take LBQ rib and season it. Now, if you've never had LBQ, you don't know what LBQ is. Albie is my ex-husband's brother. He is amazing on the grill and the smoker, and he has his own ribs. If you want to find out more about LBQ seasoning, look him up on Facebook and I believe Instagram as well. So I'm going to liberally sprinkle the rib all over both sides and just kind of pat it in to make sure. You notice I'm keeping one hand out of the raw pork meat because that's smart. And then we'll just coat the other side. Now, I've never done a full rack of ribs on the grill before. So I consulted said barbecue master who makes this rub. And he did say to put this on here about half hour to an hour prior to sticking them on the grill. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to cover these up real quick. I'm going to stick them in the fridge, and in about an hour, I'm going to stick them on the grill. Okay, we've got the grill going. We're taking the foil off of the ribs that we covered it in, put it in the fridge. That kind of makes it all juicy. Like, grab my tongs here. Now, my grill was about 300, and Albie had said about 270, so I turned one of the burners down. But the other thing he said is that you offset it from where the flame is. It actually works better as well. So, we have our wow, there's a piece of hair on there. We've got our two big old slabs of ribs over here. But the burner down here is the one that's on. And I did turn it down a little bit more just to make sure, because we don't want it too hot. Because we want to slow and low it. See, just opening it is all it really takes. To see, sorry, it's kind of dirty, gross, and a little warm. See, it dropped down to 250 just by opening it up for a little bit, and it's starting to climb. But as long as we have that down a little bit, it should be fine. And we'll check the temperature in an hour anyways, because in an hour, we've got another step to go for. Okay, guys, we're back. We're on the next step. Keep leaving things at the wrong end of the grill. All right, so what we're doing, first we're taking these off. They're about half cooked at the absolute most. Like, I'm thinking that they might actually need a little more time. Maybe. You know what? I'm just going to flip them right now, because those are just barely even starting to get cooked. Like, they're not even getting crispy on there yet. So, well, okay, we're going to do what Albie said. Although when Albie did this level, he said they were almost done. And for me, they're barely going. Like, that's super duper raw. So, I hope that these work out all right. So what he was saying, my brother-in-law Albie, the one that makes the seasoning, is that the next step, oh, there's an ant on this honey jar. Guess he really liked it. Now does it with barbecue sauce sometimes, he does it with honey sometimes. I couldn't decide, so we're going to do both. So I'm just going to get some honey, just literally poured straight onto there. And just kind of brush that on, make sure it's really spread out good. He didn't say to flip it over. But, so I'm just doing the meat side. I had honey drip off my fingers. And then, I'm going to take this bottle, brand new bottle, of hickory and brown sugar, Sweet Baby Ray's barbecue sauce. Stick some of that on top of this. Kind of mix them together a little bit on top of the pork. And my foil is not very wide. So this doesn't seem like it's gonna work real great compared to the way he had done it. I'm just gonna use this spatula somewhere to put that that's clean. So what I'm gonna have to do is I'm gonna have to take another piece of foil and put it over the top. Now he kind of just tented it. He didn't put it super tight or anything. So we're just gonna crimp the edges over here a little bit. Crimp the edges over here a little bit. And then he said he kind of crimped the ends, but kind of left them open so the steam can still get out. So we're gonna make sure we leave some steam. I should link his honey ribs. Maybe I will. I'll link that. And then you just stick it back on the grill. So, stick that one back on there. We will repeat the process for the other one. He said he'd like to do double foil in case one piece of foil rips. So that's why we've got double foil action here. And we're going to take this piece off. That is actually the rib side. Stick a little bit on the meat that's right here. See, this one's a little different because you got chunks of meat on both sides of it, although I suppose it probably kind of gets underneath there, doesn't it? Alright, so this way. How do I get my hair on everything? Seriously. Alright, I'm gonna pour some honey on here. Use a different finger because that one has been licked now. And will again, mind you. Totally be licked again. This is really good clover honey. It's what I sweeten my iced tea with, actually. Now I'm gonna stick that sweet baby rays on top. I totally missed this end of the ribs with the sweet baby rays. That's okay. We can scoop it up off the foil and throw it back in here. Goodness. I'm going to get my fingers all sticky if I try this, but I kind of want to get it underneath there. On that meat chunk, kind of mop it on. Alright. Well, that finger's all gross now. Alright. I did not bring anything out of here to wipe my hands off on either. Of course, wasn't that smart? Alright. So now we're going to grab that foil again. Stick it across the cup. Come on. Side. Make sure you have a vent. Make sure you have a vent. I'm going to put all this back on here. And we'll be back in another hour to see where we're at. I think I'm going to raise up the temperature ever so slightly, just in case. We'll be back. Okay, we're back. It's time to check on these. The temperature is hovering at about 275, which is what it's supposed to be. But we've got to see how we're doing when these actually getting cooked. So, I'm going to try to open up one end of this. Sorry, the sun has moved and now it's glaring straight at me from over there, which makes this not a fun thing to do. Stick this in here, see if we can find a good meaty spot. We're at about 120 degrees. Pork should be 160. Just heard a cat meow. I don't know where she is, but she's close. Hey, Harry. Oh, there she is. She came running out of that corner somewhere. So, at this point, they're pretty saucy, but they're still just not looking very cooked. Like when I look at the meat over here, it doesn't look cooked. It needs color. It needs char. So what we're gonna do is carefully, and if I can find the tongs, take these out of here. Yeah, they are good and saucy. Even the backs are pretty darn saucy. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to stick it up here. These are the burners that are actually on, because that way we're going to get a little more direct contact. And I'll leave it for about half an hour with the more meaty side down, and check on them again, and then maybe flip them over, depending on how it goes. Now, I'm going to just like drizzle some of this over that bone back there. And the rest of it is going to go back into the kitchen. It's like, I shouldn't be able to touch this foil. It should be hotter than that in here. I like it. So I'm actually going to turn on another burner too. Not high, but on, to get a little bit more heat in there, because I feel like it just isn't hot enough yet. And that if I leave it at that temperature, that we're going to be eating at like 9 o'clock at night, despite the fact that these were started at 4. So we will see how it goes. Okay, so I just checked out the ribs. They're almost up to temperature. Actually, they're pretty much up to temperature, but they need to get a little browner. So I'm going to work on the side dish really quick. I have pasta on the stove, which I believe is about done. I'm just going to make a pasta salad. I just realized all you can see is my fridge. I need to adjust that apparently. Pasta's done. Just radiatory. And somewhere around here. Way to strain the liquid out of here. We'll come back to what I'm doing with this pasta in a second, because the other thing needs to get out onto the grill. Alright, I drained the pasta. Like I said, we'll come back to that in a second. What we want to focus on right now is this zucchini. The zucchini fairy, aka my stepmom, stopped by yesterday. I have several big honking zucchinis. So I decided what we'll do is we'll grill some. So let me show you what we're doing. So we're going to take this. Now this knob up here isn't really great, although we can probably still, it's kind of a weird shape, smaller than the rest of this is. And we're going to cut these about 1/2 inch to 1 inch thick. Just big old rounds of zucchini off of here. Should have grabbed a bigger cutting board. This is not very big, but that's okay. We'll just kind of move them over here, and then however we can. I'm not sure that they're all going to fit on that plate. At least not a single layer they won't. I do have a bigger one. In fact, the bigger one's right underneath it, because that's when I thought the pasta was going to be done, but it was already done, so it's already out. So don't freak out that I'm totally ignoring my timer going off. I think the ribs will fit on this one just fine, so I'll go ahead and put the zucchini on the bigger one, since it didn't fit on the smaller one. In fact, I'm not even sure it will fit on this one for that matter. Is there any way to... Oof. Wow. Yeah, I can't even fit them all on this, even like that, but that's okay. We kind of got it, and it'll shrink a little, of course, when it cooks, so. All right, let's just get the rest of this cut out real quick. Always that little end piece off as well. Yeah, see, I'm still not going to put it all on here in one layer. Not one layer, at least. Maybe just let them kind of go up the side a little. Oy. Just absolutely cannot get these all on here. That's okay. So we're not going to do a lot to these. What we're going to do is going to grab, olive oil's almost empty, olive oil, and drizzle just a little bit on these. And that's awesome. We'll even drizzle these too. We'll set them on top in a minute. It's leaking out of the side of the bottle, not just coming out of the spout like it's supposed to. We've got our salt and pepper shakers. I'm just gonna put some pepper. I probably could grab the, wow, little brush thing. Why can't I think of what that's called all of a sudden? Basting brush. But I don't feel like getting the barbecue sauce off of it, because for some reason I can only find one, so I'm just kind of rubbing that in a little bit with my fingers. And then a little bit of salt too. And then we'll flip them all over and do the same thing. Oh, hold that thought before we flip them over. With disgusting fingers. I'm gonna grab the other kitty bottle, which is balsamic vinegar. And, wow, I was gonna say a little bit of balsamic, but that just jumped out of there like nobody's business. Wow, goodness. All right, well, this is how not to make food. Don't make a big mess. It's okay, it'll be fine. It just really went quickly on there, out of that bottle. So we'll just flip these all over. Some of them are already covered in balsamic on the back side because it went everywhere. Whoa, that's the wrong bottle. This one didn't even get any balsamic on it. Flip. Flip these two as well. Alright. Now we'll do the same on this side. Really, apparently need a new pour spout for this because I'm getting more out of the side of the bottle than I am out of the spout at this point. Either that or I'm really almost out of olive oil. Probably a little bit of both. And I'm totally gonna have to wash off my countertops after this because I'm making a mess. Alright, where's that? You know what, let's just balsamic while we're at it. Let's just make a mess. Maybe less of one this time. Okay, that was better. More controlled. Just kind of rub that oil and vinegar into these before we make a total and complete mess of everything. Apparently messy cooking is my thing today. The towel's gonna need to be washed after I do that, that's for sure. Okay, pepper again. Now you could do a lot. You could put other seasoning on here. I just want a nice, simple seasoning. You could put garlic on there. I heard lemon juice is good on it. I suppose we could squeeze a little lemon on there too if we really wanted to. Alright, so let's take these out to the grill. Okay, back outside. Now, these ribs are looking really fantastic at this point. I don't think they really need, oh yeah, they don't need any more time to get done. They are done. So we're gonna just set them over to this side where there's no heat. We're gonna get this zucchini on the grill. Since the ribs are done, I literally put it in exactly the same spot. Now these are not gonna take a long time out here at all. Like maybe a couple minutes per side. Like I'd say maybe 5 minutes on one side, flip it over, 5 more on the other. Let's turn on one more burner. It looked like it got kind of mixed with the balsamic, so I'm just rubbing it in what's left over on the plate there. There's a lot left on the plate right there. Yeah, since there is so much on the plate, if you're worried about not having enough, you can totally just drizzle it over a little bit. Of course, now I think this one back here has a little too much. Spread the love. Alright. We're just going to shut this and let that go for 5 minutes. And while we're waiting for that, I'm going to go rinse off this pan because it's gross. Okay, I'm back. It's been probably about 5 minutes or so. We're just going to flip these over and take the ribs off. Oh, these are looking good. They're still pretty stiff, so I'm not worried about them being overcooked at this point. You do have to be careful though. Obviously, if you want less grilling time, cut them thinner. If you want more grilling time, cut them thicker. I think I'm actually going to shift around, like ones that were, this one was a lot more cooked there in the middle than the one on the side was. Actually, same here. I'm going to switch these around a little. The ones that are a little bit more cooked come to the edge of the flame. I like that one that doesn't even look like it got cooked hardly yet. This one down here is definitely the strongest of the burners. I don't think I picked that one. Oh, there we go. Alright. So we've got them all flipped. Close that back. Oh, no, don't close it yet. Ribs. What we're going to do is we're going to take these, put them on our smaller tray here, take them back in, and let them rest while these finish cooking. And we're going to finish our pasta dish. Okay, so here is the rest of what we're doing with our pasta over here. As you can see, I started cutting up. I cut up a whole onion. I cut up a whole bell pepper. I'm just doing a rough chop on these olives real quick. I don't care if there's relatively big pieces. I just don't want them whole exactly. So literally just that much of a chop. Not much at all. I just got a little bit left in the can. Get those chopped up real quick as well. Lay flat. If I had felt like standing here and slicing them all individually, sliced would have been kind of nice, but I don't feel like standing here and slicing all these. We just had a runaway. It's okay. I'm sure there's plenty in here that we will not miss the one that just rolled away to the floor. Alright, so now what I'm going to do, I'm going to take all of this and just dump it straight in with our pasta. And that's an entire package of radiatori is what I've got in here right now. Just drained. Now, what I'm going to do, if any of you guys watched the video when I made pasta last week, I put the rest of the olive oil marinating liquid from the, what's it called? Oops, just stepped on it. Olive. From the artichoke hearts and stuck it in the pesto jar so that we can just get some more pesto out of there. And I'm going to add a good spoon of garlic to that. That was the wrong lid almost. That would have been kind of funny actually. I'm going to put just a tiny bit of sambal or red chili paste in there. And maybe this is what jar I should. There is the tiniest bit of stone ground mustard left in this jar. So actually, I've changed my mind. It's gonna go in here all the way down the front of my shirt because I'm talented like that. Right on top of the mess. Let's stick A little bit of balsamic in there. Not too much, just a little. I 100% need to clean this kitchen like you wouldn't believe now because I have made such a mess. Just shake that up really good. And we're going to dump that over the top of our pasta. I just found a random chunk of artichoke heart that was left in there that I didn't even know still existed. Thought that was gone. Okay, I can't handle this anymore. I've made a mess here. An oily, gross mess on the top of my dishwasher. I have balsamic vinegar all over the countertop. And I just found a runaway bell pepper. So I'm going to grab my pasta spoon, fork thingy, whatever you want to call it, and just toss that all together. If I had Parmesan or feta, I could throw it in here, but I don't. So that's pretty much it. If you feel like it's not quite dressed enough, which it really doesn't seem like it is, let me see if there's more olive oil in my pantry. No, there's not more olive oil in my pantry. Well, I normally wouldn't mix different types of oil, but there is really truly nothing left in there. So, did you see that sesame oil trying to attack me? I'm just going to put a little bit more of the balsamic in here and some vegetable oil because it's what I have. I probably could have used the malt vinegar or salad vinegar that was in there, but I needed a little bit more oil, not just a little bit more of this. And we'll try that again without tripping myself this time, maybe. That'd be nice. Let's see. It needs more seasoning still. So where my pantry is trying to attack me. So I'm just gonna take some Italian seasoning. Okay, it's gonna come out too slow that way. And throw it on top. I'm really not tasting that garlic or the vinegar very much, so we'll grab a little bit more garlic, a little bit more. I might have a problem with garlic, okay guys? But it tastes good. I'll put a little bit more of that salt in there. I'm honestly not even tasting the mustard that much, so open a new one. Maybe. Can't get it to open. Could have put a good sized blob of mustard in there as well. And then we'll stir that up again. And I can't imagine it still being not flavorful after that. Especially adding that extra mustard. It really is a trial and error thing. I should have known there wasn't enough mustard in there to really give it any flavor. And honestly, I should have tasted it before I dumped it on the pasta. I tell you, that would have made sense. I just lost a piece of pasta to the floor. What is up with this today? Oh yeah, that's much better. Alright. Oh, it's almost too much mustard now. We're gonna deal with it. So now I'm gonna run out and grab the zucchini real quick. Okay, I thought I was recording and I wasn't, because apparently I'm not that smart today. So I grabbed the zucchini off the grill. They look really nice, don't they? Nice grill marks. Just to make them easier to eat on the plate, the smaller ones I cut into quarters, but the bigger rounds I'm cutting into 6, just so that it's easier to manage on your plate. Oop, come on. 3 more. Thank goodness I hadn't cut these all up yet, huh? Before I realized I hadn't been recording. So there we go. There's all of our lovely grilled zucchini on a plate, mostly cut apart for ease of eating. Now what we're going to do, other than continue to destroy this poor white towel, well, not so much be white, that's not bad. We're going to swap. Put here and grab our ribs. If you hadn't realized yet, my kitchen is tiny. So, there's a lot of shuffling around in here. Now to cut these, you just want to follow the bone. So, you see right here, whoop. You can stand up on their hands if you can get them to cooperate with you. You know, forget it. Just kind of do it flat, because that's what I can get it to cooperate on. It's really easy to just follow where the bones are on these to know where to cut it, except right here apparently. This all of a sudden go a little weird. And I'm not sure that this knife can do that because it needs to be sharpened. So, this one's sharper. Apparently there was only one that was really being a pain. The rest weren't being so bad. Switch this around. Okay, that's the fattier, the meatier side, so maybe I do need to leave it this way to find the rib bones. Space between the side of this one got a little extra crispy, but this is the side that doesn't really have meat anyways, so if one of the sides had to get a little extra crispy, I'd rather it be that side, to be honest. I got another 2 right there. Alright. There we go. So now we have a lovely plate of ribs, some nice zucchini, and some pasta salad. I'm telling you, this towel's not going to be white by the time I'm done. Oh, I'm going to probably get this out of the way too. If you really like the crispy bits, you could eat that. That would not be my favorite thing. Dishwasher is full of clean dishes, so why not just grab them out of here? Brought in the tongs, but they're dirty and gross. They're over here to work with. What I do with my pasta fork. Left it on the counter, that's what I do with it. So here we go, we've got a nice bunch of zucchini, a nice scoop of pasta, and a couple of these nice big meaty ribs. That ought to be good for Kevin. What do you think of that, huh, guys? Pretty good, huh? Okay, mine's all dished up now too, but really quick before I sign off, I'm going to grab this little tiny guy off the end. It's a little charred on one side, but let's see. That's really tender and really yummy. And you can taste the little bit of the barbecue and definitely the honey. Yeah, that is pretty good. Talk to you guys later.